Yo, what is going on everybody, and welcome to my Stamina Templar Berserker build. It is a dual-wield and bow orc build, and I am very excited to show you guys this iteration because it is the closest thing that I could get to a Berserker build, or a Berserker in my opinion. We're not running a burst heal, we're relying solely on combat heals, healing over time, and health regeneration. And because of that, we were able to be offensive in fights for such a long time. Because you don't have to switch over and hit that heal button as often. Compared to the last iteration of the build as well, I've added quite a bit more weapon damage. It's still a armor penetration based build, but I can just dish out so much more damage and take so much more of a beating, as you guys can see in some of these clips here. I have quite a bit of PvP footage to show you guys at the end of the video as well. But yeah, without further ado, let's jump into the build here. Alrighty, so taking a look at the build here, we are an orc like I said, and for this build and playstyle in particular, honestly I would probably recommend an orc because you just get so much out of those passive, the unflinching and the Swift Warrior are just so nice for this build. So I would probably recommend just staying an orc. But taking a look at the stats and everything, we have 64 points into stamina. We are running the Tower Mundus, just to get a little bit more max stamina because I wanted to have a higher amount of max health because I'm not running a burst heal like I said. So looking at the magicka, we have about 13.4k magicka, max magicka, which is pretty respectable for stamina build. And considering we're only really using 2 magicka abilities, it's very nice amount to have. We're pretty much able to not run out as long as you don't spam them. Taking a look at our max health here, we have about 27k, which is pretty nice. This is in the champion point campaign. And the food that I decided to run was the triple trifle pocket, just so I can get my max health and my stamina recovery up as high as possible. You could, if you have the money, go with the smoked bear haunch, but I just don't really want to spend money on that, honestly. So this is the route that I decided to go with the food. And then taking a look at our max stamina, we have about 31.9k, so just about 32k, which is a pretty nice amount to have as well. And then taking a look at the recoveries, our magical recovery is not the highest, but like I said, we're only using 2 abilities, so as long as you don't spam them, you're able to keep your max magicka up for most of the fight. And then at this amount of health regen with our Troll King, we should go up to about, I'd have to say, a little bit over 2k with the extra health regen from this CP tree. So we probably have a little bit over 2k. And then if we're using the smoked bear haunch, you would have quite a bit more. So I don't know, it's up to you if you want to test that, but this is about the amount that I have. And then our stamina recovery is just about 1700. But on the bow bar, our recoveries are a tiny bit better, and this is the bar you're kind of going to be on when you're playing defensively. So we have about 1800 stamina recovery and about 700 magical recovery. Taking a look at the damage, fully buffed. So if you guys remember on my last build, we had like 3k max weapon damage, and I've gone and buffed that to about 4802 fully buffed. So we've gotten quite a bit more damage added to this build, and as you guys can see, we're still penetration focused. So with that amount of weapon damage on top of our penetration, we're just able to chunk people out. And then our crit is a respectable amount as well, so that's why we're able to see those fat crescent sweeps every now and then. Our resistance is fully buffed. When you're standing on the rune, you're a little bit over 20k, but realistically you're not going to be standing on it the whole time, so just about 19k spell and physical resist, and then we're sitting at 2k crit resist. So let's take a look at the sets here. Like I said, I am running Troll King. I have a heavy on the on the helmet and light on the shoulders. I only have 1 point into the Undaunted medal right now, so getting that second point would definitely boost our stats up quite a bit. So you're definitely going to want to end up running the 511 if you can. So I have a heavy helmet, light shoulders. The shoulders are impenetrable, and I need to change this helmet here to infused or something. I don't know, something else. But I have a max health on the helmet there, and then max stamina on the shoulders. And then in our 5-piece, we are running Shackle Breaker, and that's how we're able to get the max magicka that we need and that little bit amount of magicka recovery. On the chest and the legs, like on most of my builds, I'm running infused and triglyphs. I'd try to get these if you could, honestly, having them on at least 2 of the pieces. On the third, I would get it on the helmet if you could as well. But having those 3 infused tri pieces really helps out your max stats. And then on all of my other pieces, I'm running impenetrable, and then the stamina enchants. And then for the second set, we are running Cinch on the jewelry, robust on all of them, and then weapon damage on all of them as well. And then we are only running a Cinch bow, actually. We're running infused and the weapon damage enchant just to boost that up for when we go in for a combo. But on the front bar, I'm still running the Master's Dual Wield. Honestly, it's not a must. I just really like the amount of bleed damage that goes into Power of the Light, and then it also plays into like the Berserker with like those bleeds doing a lot more damage. But you can run pretty much. You can run Censure if you wanted to. You could run the Black Rose Dual Wield here if you wanted to, but I just decided to run with Master's Daggers and Master Sword. If you don't have them, it's not a must, like I said. But we do have Sharpened on both of them, and I'm running Flame and Diseased on as my enchants. So taking a look at the abilities here, on the front bar, we are running Toppling Charge. Very nice ability. People really don't expect this to come out usually when you're playing on a Stamina Templar, and that off balance is very nice to have as well because we're just getting an extra 10% damage in addition to everything else. Blood Craze, the heal is very nice to have, and then like I said, the damage over time from the Master Swords really help out as well. Quick Cloak to get that Major Expedition and that Major Evasion, of course. Whirling Blades is our execute here, and with the change that they made to it, it just does so much damage now. And then I have Shrouded Daggers here, just to get a little bit more AoE damage, and it's our source of major brutality as well. And then as the ultimate, obviously we're running Crescent Sweep. Now, I tried out Empowering Sweep, but although it does scale in physical damage, and the tooltips say that it does do more, that 60% from Crescent Sweep just ends up doing way more damage than Empowering Sweep does, and it's not really a light attack based build, so I don't know. You could try it if you want, but I just prefer the Crescent Sweep morph over the Empowering Sweep morph. And then taking a look at the back bar here, we have Repentance. Extended Ritual. We need that Purge, of course, a very strong ability. Restoring Focus, Power of Light, and Vigor. And then for the ultimate here, honestly, I'm not really using this that often. Like, it's really only for those situations where it's like an oh shit button. But I try to not use it as much as I can because I like using Crescent Sweep as part of my combo. But being on this back bar and having all that healing over time, and then having that minor protection as well, is very strong. So I just like having Temporal Guard on here for the minor protection mainly. Yeah, that's the build. Combat Frenzy as well is also a very important passive to have because getting that ultimate back after getting kills is very useful because our ultimate only costs about 80 something. 72, actually, never mind. So it's very nice passive to have. But going into the champion points here, in the tower we got about 35 in the sprinter. I would take a little bit out of this because we're not sprinting as much. Before I didn't have a gap closer, so I was solely relying on sprinting as my source of like getting to people. So I would probably take out quite a bit of points out of sprinter and maybe put them into Arcanist here. But we have 32 points into Warlord, 24 into Bashing Focus, 70 in the Mooncalf, 50 in the Healthy, because like I said, we don't really have a burst heal, and then I would put those points from Sprinter into Arcanist here. 40 into Tumbling, because we are doing a little bit of roll dodging, and then just a tiny bit into Shadow Ward here. Looking at the Atronach here, we have 60 into Master at Arms, and then 60 into Physical Weapon Expert. Pretty simple, just to get the most damage out of the type of damage that we're doing. And then on the Ritual here, we have, if I was running Poison Injection, I might put a little bit of points into here, but because we're only really running one dot, Master's Duel adds enough damage on there where we don't really need to run Dom. And then I have 30 into Precise Strikes, which really helps out with our those Vigor crits, and obviously our offensive crits as well. And then we have quite a bit here into Piercing, because like I said, this is still a very, very armor penetration focused build. And then 43 into Mighty here. And then lastly, taking a look at the Steed here, we got about 27 into Medium Armor Focus, 37 into Ironclad, 43 into Critical Resistance. Don't have any into Thick Skin because we have that Purge, so don't really need to rely on having reduced damage over time, because you can just purge it off. So because of that, we're able to put a lot more points into Hardy and Elemental Defender here. And then lastly, we got 43 points into Quick Recovery. But yeah, that's the build. Let's take a look at some of the fights here. Alrighty, so this first fight here is very telling of what the build is capable of and what I had in mind for it. This is also the type of fight that I probably wouldn't try to take on my other builds, but you're gonna see here how this build is able to thrive in combat. But we end up jumping out of the front door here, and we see quite a bit of EP siege in the front door here. So I'm gonna put a Power of the Light on a couple of them and kind of just try to gauge the targets to see what I'm working with here. Keep my vigor up, and we're just gonna do a little roll dodge here and there just to make sure we're not taking too much damage. But you can see one of the targets are getting pretty low, so I'm going to throw my my Flying Dagger just to get my buff. We jump on them and get a huge Crescent Sweep on them. And we're going to try to take out one of the other targets with the pulses from the Crescent Sweep, but I get stunned and I'm taking quite a bit of damage, so we're just going to purge off those negative effects, and then kind of get behind this little line of sight. But I already have my ultimate back up, so we jump right back into the fight. You see him get a barrier ultimate there, but we still just chunk him through that Crescent Sweep, and we end up taking that player route. So much damage. We end up seeing another player here that's low. Does end up getting hit by a siege, but we're just jumping from target to target here, and that's one of the things that's very fun about this build. With that passive from the assault tree, we get that Crescent Sweep up so often. You see it right there again. I've already used it about 3 times in this fight here. Jumping on the next target there, taking him out as well. With the amount of healing over time and how quickly they were able to get up that ultimate after a kill. Just was such a good fight, honestly. But yeah, let's jump into the next fight here. So in this next fight here, I'm playing with a couple of buddies of mine, and they are being chased by a giant AD group here. So I'm gonna try to get over to them just to support them here. And the same thing as the start of that other fight. I'm just gonna try to put a Power of the Light on a couple of people here, just to gauge what we've got working with. But you can see they're taking quite a bit of pressure, so I'm gonna charge in the middle here, just to see if I can take a bit of pressure off of them, but we take all of the aggro, and we're taking a lot of pressure here, so I'm going to try to peel down behind this rock here, and we can see the healing over time part of this build working overtime now. And we're taking a lot of pressure, so we're just going to keep doing a couple of roll dodges. You can see the vigor, and getting a burst heal or 2 from our group members here is managing to keep us alive. And after I get a little bit of breathing room from being behind this tree here, I'm just going to jump in the middle of the fight here, try to take out one of these players. I get it really, really low, but he does get quite a bit of heals from his group members, but we're taking a lot of pressure right now. putting down purges as often as I can just to make sure that these guys can get purifies off. I see one guy get really low, and then our group member is able to finish him off. But we're still taking quite a bit of pressure. I'm just trying to kind of get in the middle of these guys and do as much AoE damage as I can. I see one player in the back there get low, so I immediately switch targets on him and finish him off there with the sorcerer. And then we just go back on to pounding on these guys. But you saw how big that group was earlier, and just by pulling them down to this little nook over here, we managed to split the group up quite a bit. And now we're left to this other guy who's taking a lot of pressure from all three of us now that we've got the group size to be a lot smaller. And then we're able to focus down the targets. But very nice fight there as well, considering how big that group was at first. But yeah, lastly here I got a bit of an open field fight. Still playing with the same amount of guys here. But yeah, this build has been quite a blast to make and play, honestly. It's very rare that a build turns out like the way you had in mind for it originally, especially with the way that the game has gone over time. It's gotten a lot harder and harder to make unique builds. Not to say that this is the most unique one in the world, but I just really like having an idea for a build that I want to make in the game, and then being able to execute that. As you guys have seen with my other builds, I would kind of shy away from these types of fights, the bigger skirmishy fights, being in a group, stuff like that. And you see on this build here, just how much you're able to thrive in those situations because of all the things I've gone over. You can literally turn the tables on people like you see right here with that Christmas Sweep ultimate. You have it up so often, and if you're actually able to get a kill on somebody, you just get so much fuel to be able to go on to the next person. Like I said, from that repentance and that Battle Fury passive. So yeah, it's been quite a blast to play. I hope you guys have fun on it as well. Let me know if you guys enjoyed it. If you want to show me some support, hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. And if you're new here, I upload almost twice a week, and this is my thing. I love making unique builds. So hit that subscribe button as well. But thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day.